Thank you very much, and apologies for the little break. So my name is Mario Beffa. I am part of the Secretariat of the Livestock and Meat Advisory Council, which is an overarching entity looking into the affairs of, or representing the affairs of, many representatives in the livestock industry. We have many members in the LMAC, and one of our members is the Zimbabwe Poultry Association, who we provide the secretariat for. So I will give you a brief overview on local production and consumption trends. So firstly, who is the ZPA? ZPA is a producer association that is open to all interested in poultry production. We have an elected council. Our current chairman is Mr. Solomon Zawi. The council meets regularly, discusses all the issues affecting industry, and champions these issues. One of the other jobs we do is we collate, analyze industry data and present reports. And that will be the major output of my discussion today, is a summary of all the information we have collected. As I indicated, the ZPA is a member of the Livestock and Meat Advisory Council. We have a secretariat under the LMAC, and we provide services to a number of associations, including stock feeds, the pig industry, the chicken, the rabbits are our members, dairy are a member. We also have the Abattoirs Association under us. So we have a wide spectrum of members under the LMAC. From the ZPA point of view, one of the things we do is collect monthly returns from most of the breeders in the country and most of the hatcheries. So we have information on how many birds they've got on the ground, how many eggs they're producing, how many chicks they're producing. We also have some producers who are giving us returns, and we have quite a lot of the large abattoirs sending us returns. So from these returns, we have an understanding of what's happening in the industry. And from these, a big important thing is we estimate what is happening in the small and medium sector, which is large. We estimate the broiler accounts for 2/3 of total production, and the table egg accounts for half of total production. So we base our estimates on the number of chicks going into those sectors. We build in a lot of formulas, and we estimate. So as you can see, we have good information on 1/3 of the broiler industry and half of the egg industry. The other remaining part is some guesswork. And we are putting in structures to try and improve the capturing of data from those sectors to reduce the amount of guesswork. So I'll go straight away into some of our production records. And I'm sorry, some of my screen has been hidden here. So this is our layer breeders. So I'm showing a graph here of layer breeders from January 2015 to December 2020. So in the bottom of the axis, we're going from January to December. And on the left side is the number of birds in thousands. And you can see we're going from 0 to 80,000. The green line at the bottom there, which is hovering around the 20,000 line, is your young growing chicks. And you can see there's been quite a lot of movement up and down. And the big thing to point out is this, your avian influenza in the middle of the chart here, October 2017. Very, very big hit. The blue line is the broiler breeders in lay. These are the birds that are producing the hatching eggs that will go into the hatcheries, from which we will get the sexed pullets. And you can see from January 2015 to just before the COVID, not the COVID, the avian influenza, this October, it was actually May 2017. You can see that the line was softening. Okay, we went from about 30,000 and we were going into about the 25,000. Okay, so the yellow line is adding the two and gives us an overall reflection of the investment in the breeding industry. So as I pointed out from the beginning, you can see a softening, and we will discuss that just now. So we went from about 50,000, yeah, we hovered around 50,000. And then avian influenza. And you can see the dramatic impact AI had in the industry. So we were very unlucky to get AI in this country. In one hand, on the other hand, we were very lucky that it hit the largest and most organized sector, and that was urbans, who were able to deal with this. But it came at a price. And you can see we lost half our stocks. We went from 50,000, more than half our stocks, to less than 20,000. And the other interesting thing is you can see it took us a long time. It took us over a year to rebuild our breeding stocks. And what was really interesting is then the post-AI, we saw a dramatic growth going right up to the late 2019. You started to see a lot of hiccups, okay? We started going into some refocus. And then you had another wobble in early 2020, your COVID lockdown, which again came on the back of, we saw a lot of breeders having a massive rethink. But right now, at the end of 2020, the industry is the strongest it's been since January 2015. So to look at just the layer breeders year on year, just to give you a feel for what's happening. So these are the breeders in production. Again, so we're going from January to December, and we're showing all the different years, and we're going from 10,000 birds to 60,000 birds. So 2015, you can see we were hovering around 30,000. 2016, we started off okay, and we saw some disinvestment coming in. 2017, you can see the midway, and then you can see the huge impact of avian influenza. And you can see the slow recovery to the end of 2017. 2018, you can see continued recovery, phenomenal growth that year. 2019, continued growth, and then we saw some economic stability and people doing a rethink. And this is where we're at. The red line at the top is 2020. The industry is as strong as it's ever been. So these are good indications going into 2021. So if we look, I believe this is hatching eggs. Again, I can't see the top of my screen. So these are hatching eggs going into the industry from 2015 to 2020. And we're going from 200,000 eggs. Sorry, can I see the top of my screen here? I hope I'm talking layer hatching eggs, yes. Apologies. So this is layer hatching eggs. And again, you can see in 2015, the hatching eggs going into the hatchery were relatively strong in the 800,000 line. And then we started towards the end of 2015, see some disinvestment. And you can see the graph went down in 2016, the blue line. 2017, it was also soft. And then we saw the huge impact of avian influenza. And the recovery has been slow. You can see we started recovering there. 2018, this green line, and you can see we still we had recovered by the end of 2018, but it took us a year to recover. 2019 started seeing some growth, and again, you started to see this fall off against the economic instability. 2020 has been relatively strong throughout the year. We did see a bit of a hiccup in the middle, April, May, with the COVID restrictions. So these are the hatching eggs that go into the hatcheries, okay? And these are the sexed pullets. So remember, of all the eggs that are going in, only half will be female. So these are the sexed pullets coming out of the hatchery. Again, January to December, going from 50,000 to 350,000. And you can see in 2015, it was very strong. We were sitting on 300,000 for several months, okay, compared to a long-term average around 200,000. So we saw a massive growth, a 50% growth of uptake of day-old chicks, and all of this uptake was in the smallholder sector. And as we'll come along and see later on, a lot of you who have been in table eggs will know we then started going into a real crisis, overproduction of eggs, complete slump in the market, and people started disinvesting. And you saw this, look at this yellow line, this is 2015, and this was mainly your smallholders getting out, having been burnt in the overproduction. I'm sure a lot of you will remember a tray of eggs was going for under $2, which was not even covering the feed cost. So 2016, it stabilized at a lower level. You can see the 150,000 mark. 2017 wanted to start recovering, and then we had AI. We started picking up. Sorry, that's 2018. 2017 is my AI here. 2018 is my recovery. 2019, some growth, but then towards the end of the year, some economic instability. And 2020, the big story here was COVID, April and May. People could not access stock. It was awful, and the hatcheries were actually gassing chicks. So this was a big hit. We picked up again, and we had a bit of a slump, and we're picking up again. The market for day-old sexed pullets is very, very strong. So to put it on an annual basis, 2013 to 2020, how many millions? So this is thousands. So we're really going from 1 million to 3.5 million from 2013 to 2020. And you can see 2013, 2014, about 2.3, 2.4 million. I can't see my graph. And you can see in 2015, we shot up to 3 million. Okay, and that was what I was talking about. There was a huge investment, about 50% increase investment, mainly smallholder farmers. We had an overproduction of eggs, and then we saw a disinvestment in 2016. 2017 was compounded by AI. We started seeing a huge growth recovery 2018, 2019, and 2020 was under the influence of COVID. But you can see 2020 still, despite the COVID, stronger than previous years. So this is chick price in ZWL, the black line. So this is just for last year, 2020, January to December. And this is ZWL. You can see at the beginning of the year, chicks were 2,000 ZWL per 100 chicks. And we ended up over the 10,000 mark. But what's interesting is when we look at the parallel rate and we put that in US terms, you can see for most of the year from January to July, it was at $60 per 100 chicks, which is relatively cheap. $60 is normally your broiler price, and your layer sex pullets were normally $80, $85. So you can see the industry was struggling to make returns, and then right-sized towards the end of the year, and we ended up on the year just over $90 per 100 chicks. The demand is firm, and a lot of people are not able to pick up their stocks. So shifting now we're going on to egg production. And this is the large-scale egg production. This is actual returns. So we're going from 2015 to 2020, and this is the number of birds on the ground, going from 0 to 1.4 million. And you can see the layer stocks, the ones that, so the green line are these are the young birds that the layer producers have purchased. This is the green line, and you can see it's hovering around the 300,000 mark. And these are the blue line is the actual birds in lay. These are the birds that are giving us the table eggs. And the yellow line is the total, okay? So we were hovering around 900,000 birds in lay. And then AI hit, and you can see it hit the one producer, and we lost more than half of our large-scale commercial layers. And the other point I've made, it took us over a year to rebuild that. And it is now back and it's slightly stronger than your 2015 figures. So if we look at egg production, what has that meant? So this is egg production going from January 2015 to December 2020. And this is table eggs in dozens. So this is going to 800,000 to 2.4 million dozen eggs. And this is, of course, on a monthly basis. So you can see we went from about 1.5, we increased, and we were sitting around an average of around 1.8 million dozen. This is large scale. After AI, we lost half, and we were sitting at 0.9 million dozen. So obviously we were short 0.9 million dozen going into the industry, and that caused a major hiccup. But as I've said, you saw in the breeders, you've seen in the stock, a tremendous recovery growth, and it's now stabilized at a slightly higher figure than pre-AI. Okay, we're averaging around 2 million dozen per month. This is large scale production, and this is from actual returns. So this now is where we try and estimate what's happening in the smallholder sector. And the smallholder sector is purely from the number of day-old chicks that are going into the market that have not been taken up by the large-scale guys sending in returns. So there's a lot of estimation going in here. We try and be on the downside. We don't want to overestimate, but this is obviously our best estimate. And I'm showing you from 2016 going to December 2020, and this is your production on your y-axis here, going from 0.8 million dozen to 5.3 million dozen. This black line is the one we were looking at just now. As I told you, we were pretty much around about 1.8 million dozen per month pre-AI. We dropped down to 0.9. We've picked up, and we're hovering around the 2 million mark. So looking at the green line, this is the one that's really important. You can see coming out of 2015, you'll remember that all those chicks, we had a 40%, 50% increase investment into sex pullets, which was mainly going into your small and medium producer sector. And we saw a massive increase, 3 million, estimated 3 million chicks versus your 1.8 from your commercial. So total was hovering around 4.8 million dozen per month. And while I'm here, 4.8 million dozen per month equates to 1 egg per capita per week in Zimbabwe. which is very low. It's one of the lowest in the world. So there is tremendous scope to grow egg production. Okay. So we must put that into context. So the green line, you can see, remember that the market crashed. People were getting under $2 a tray of eggs, and there was a massive disinvestment in table egg production. And of course, that hit total egg production. We were sitting around 4.8. We came down to your 3.5 million, and then AI. Okay. And we don't know what AI obviously did not affect the SMP. It affected the one producer. But you can see what happened in total egg production. All of a sudden, we're sitting down around 2.5 million from around 4.8. And as you saw, the large scale showed massive recovery and is sitting around the 2 million mark, higher than pre-AI. And what is interesting to see now, starting in late 2019, going into 2020, some increased investment by the SMPs. And the impact of that is egg production has continued to climb and is breaking the 5 million mark in most of 2020. So just to look at this from another perspective, it's the same graph. I'm just narrowing in. I'm looking at 2019, January 2019 to December 2020. And you can see your large scale has remained pretty constant at 2 million. Your small scale has gone from 2 million up to 3 and starting to soften. And your total is moved from around 4 million and is sitting around 5 million. The other important thing is this dotted line, this green dotted line is the US price, and here's the US axis going from $1 per tray to $3 per tray of eggs. And you can see at the beginning of 2019, the market was not good, was below $2. Things were not looking very good. And then since late in 2019, we've seen a recovery in the price and it's pushed to just below $3, around the $2.80, $2.75 a tray mark. Okay, so just looking at egg production year on year, just to give you a feel. So we're going from 2 million dozen per month up to 5.5 million dozen per month. And our previous high was in 2016, that blue line at the top. And you can see we were hovering between 4 and 5 million a month. We saw 2017 disinvestment from the large-scale producer. We saw the AI and slump in production. 2018, long starting of growth recovery. 2019, continued recovery. And 2020, our best year to date. So to put that on a year scale, so you can see 2013 to 2015, 45 to 48 million. And as I said, that's equates to an egg a person a week. 2016 was great, but it came with the market crash. So that was the disinvestment. 2017 is the disinvestment of the large scale sector and impact of AI. 2018 is recovery. 2019 continued recovery, and 2020 a record year for this country. And we hope that will continue moving that direction. So what are some of our challenges? And I'm hoping this will be subject for discussion later on. Is one, the availability of sex pullets. So it's a difficult market. The sex pullets comes from your breeders. Your breeders are trying to project what's going to happen 2 years from now. They buy breeders live. They import the parent stock live. They pay anywhere $50 to $100 per pullet, per breeder pullet. It's a massive investment, and it's a 2-year cycle. So they need to project what's going on 2 years from now and make sure they are going to be making money from this investment. So you've got that, all that uncertainty going into the market there. From the SMP point of view is the availability and cost of point of lay. It is not economically feasible for an SMP to go and buy 100 bullets and grow them out. It's really much better to have a large-scale outgrower who will buy them in batches of 1,000 and grow them out. But then the cost of the point of lay to the SMP is prohibitive, and it will put him out of production. So this is something else that we are looking at. We are very pleased to be partnering with the EU under the Zimbabwe Agricultural Growth Program. And we do have a project there, the Inclusive Pork Value Chain, where we are looking at making point of lay available. So we're working there in 5 clusters. I hope many of you are already involved in these clusters in Harare, Mutare, Masvingo, Gweru, and Bulawayo. And then the last challenge, and a big one, is the distribution and marketing of table eggs. What we are seeing is all the eggs, large markets, Mbari, for example. So you're getting everybody bringing the eggs to Mbari, all the vendors going to Mbari to collect eggs and take them out. There's tremendous increased costs in distribution. And this is something else that we're looking at under the IPVC, is to try and link the producer to the vendor at the point of production, reducing transaction costs, reducing transaction miles, making the product more affordable to the vendor and hopefully more affordable to the consumer. And that is one way we can try and push egg production. I've mentioned it once, let me mention it again. We are consuming 1 egg per capita per week. Very low. It's one of the lowest in the world. And the egg is one of the most nutritious. It is the most, weight for weight, it is the most nutritious source of protein. And we really need to get that up and going. With that, I want to thank you very much. You can get more information from us on ZPA by writing to admin@lit.co.zw. And I also invite you to visit our website. All the information I've presented today and much, much more is available on our website, www.livestockzimbabwe.com. Thank you.